Viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing, bitches banging. I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing like bang, bang, oh, bang, bang, bitch, nigga, bang, 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 bang.
You smoking on, you got that light.
You talking choppers, you getting right. You wanna blow with the dope every night.
Said he wanted some scratch, so we took him
Let's
on
go,
life.
say you wanna get paid, you wanna be right.
He team 4K got slapped
Walking
with
out,
pipe.
still got on these shades, even though it ain't night. Cause they little pink pills too hard. Let's go on a SRT with a Draco tight. Got a little boy way, can't sleep at night.
You gotta go get your motherfucking dough. You gotta run, say fuck out that hoe. I was just broken, I didn't have a friend, so I went in the trap and I sold me some dope.
Let's
For
go.
real.
Poppin' purse, make her suck dick for an hour, get to work. I told the bitch to get nasty for double. She bought her best friend, they for each other. Okay for me, make her fuck my brother. Got a team full of players, free band, no struggle.
Big 4K down to the door.
Might get in there more, go dig with shovel. Break out the chopstick, hit on wherever. Broad daylight, bitch, I'ma get on wherever. Let's go, double O walk on this bitch, but I like to talk on this bitch.
Hold on.
Purpose said walk on this bitch, the purpose said talk on this bitch.
Hold on.
I just be geeking out drugs, taking all kinds of shit. Bitch wanna fuck, she fine, and she all kind of dick.
Running through the design, don't care about shit. The world one time, though. Rich little man got shot, he slide, little boy, you a beast. 15 ball, one play on me. 15 ball.
Peace. What's going on? What's happening? MD's Thought Box Live. Third consecutive week. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah,
Third consecutive week.
bootstrap season.
And there you have it, folks. We back again with another show. The truth about Black MAGA. This is probably going to be a multi-part series because I wasn't able to fit everybody in. We'll go get another batch on the next go around. But we gonna talk about the snubs that are not in Trump's cabinet this go around. We're gonna talk about that. There were some hopefuls, but ultimately it just didn't pan out. So we're gonna break down a couple of those people. and we're gonna look at a couple of influencers and see what makes them tick, like what the parameters around how they go about doing social media within this scope of this second term of Trump. So, but any other way, Vancat, what's going on?
What's going on, MD? I'm trying to survive in this Trump world. I'm in the thought box, and I got a
Hey,
lot of thoughts.
I got you, man. You just a squirrel trying to get a nut. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. So yeah, we got a packed show tonight. I'm gonna put the link in the chat for the scramblers. And so like I said, the doors of the church are always open over here at MD's Thought Box Live. Got any questions or comments, or like I said, the stragglers come through. The link is in the chat. So first let's do some headlines, because like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on. So I want to do real quick headlines, and I'll probably start doing this every week just so we can get some quick thoughts on the latest. And then, as the weeks go by, we can go into more detail with a lot of these stories. But first and foremost, there's a theme with a lot of these headlines that I got today. So let's go to NBC News. We're going to go there first. NBC News, and this coincides with the update that we're going to give with the Brago case, because there's a lot going on with that case. I told you last week, Vancat, don't be surprised when that breaking news came down just before we went live last week. The 9-0 decision. I broke it first here on Thoughtbox Live.
Yep.
And I said on that show, don't be surprised if the Trump administration say to hell with it. And that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. So this from NBC News. Judge in the Brago case indicates she's weighing contempt proceedings against the Trump administration. That where in the annals of history can you say that a presidential administration its own, some people say co-equal, I don't use that verbiage, I would say co-protective branch of government would file contempt charges against another co-protective branch? It's the system fighting itself.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Yeah, go ahead.
No. It's just bewildering to me how we're dealing. These are the things that we're dealing with this administration. It's just jarring to see. And Trump, I don't know. Maybe he's like, to hell with this, but he's like starting stuff over here. He's starting stuff over here, and it's like, at a certain point, it's like crazy. He's going after lawyers. He's going after schools. He's going after.
Should be the strategy. Flood the zone.
Oh,
that's what he said.
Yeah.
So he's following the strategy that the master planner gave him.
Yep.
And that's exactly what he's doing. Yeah. So again, here, NBC News, judge in the Brago case indicates she's weighing contempt proceedings against Trump. I'll read the header here. It says U.S. District Judge Paula Zennis said the administration has done nothing, in quotation marks, to facilitate the return of Kilmar Brago Garcia, even though court orders have required actions by officials. So they gave that the Supreme Court said you got to facilitate. And, I've been seeing they've been doing the semantics throughout the course of the week with this term facilitate. The Trump administration has been trying to do everything they can to try to tiptoe around the tulips and say, well, facilitate only means if El Salvador let him out, we have to facilitate him coming back. But they basically said, as soon as he come back, we're going to deport him again. Wow. The Supreme Court didn't say anything about that. So they say they play a ring around the rosy with a lot of the legal talk. So it's going to take some more clarification, I think, from the Supreme Court to say, hey, look, we're not going to play the semantic game, which we're not going to do that. Like, this is what the order says. Do it. Go ahead.
The Trump administration, wrongfully and trying to mislead everyone into saying that there's nothing they can do, that their hands are tied. There's nothing at all that can be done, which is a blatant lie. And as you watch, you know, the El Salvadoran president in in the White House with Trump, you just can't help but think, you know, man, this guy could have just let him go. And you know, I mean, the story is so big at this moment right now. Like, it's not like you can't just say, okay, let's let this particular person out as a goodwill, and you're just hobnobbing with the president here, and you can't tell me. I mean, come on. I mean, the both of them are yucking it up in the White House, having a great time, and you can't say at any point, hey, you know, let me just release this guy in good faith. No, they both universally want him in prison. I don't know what this guy did to Trump, the Salvadorian president. I don't know what the hell that guy did. Maybe she just was breathing and they just like the idea that this is happening to him. But it's ridiculous. And to perpetuate this every day that goes by, it's just worse.
Right. So you brought up Bukele. Let's take a quick look at what he actually said in that Oval Office meeting with Trump.
Yeah, but I'm not releasing. I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, you know, released into
I mean, there's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah,
they're sick. These are sick people.
So that's what Bukele said in the Oval Office. He basically insinuated that this man was a terrorist, using the same rhetoric Trump and the rest of his cohorts use. So we know they in cahoots policy wise in terms of what they're trying to do. Everybody knows Trump's is a transactional person. That's what he is, right? I can't prove anything that I'm saying, but I think it's quite obvious that Bukele and Trump have some type of deal going on in which he gets a certain amount of money in El Salvador to facilitate, if we're going to use that word, facilitate, getting these people out of the country and do whatever the hell you want with them after that.
Yeah.
Bukele has no justification in which this man would be in prison. Off what charges? They said he got to the United States when he was 16. What the hell did he do between being a newborn and 16 years old that qualifies him to be in jail for the rest of his life in El Salvador? I don't know. And like I said, El Salvador is a sovereign nation at the end of the day. I get it. But he's on paper in the United States. That's just a fact. The United States has an obligation from a foreign policy standpoint to do whatever they need to do possible to return this person that's on paper back to the United States. No. Does he qualify as a quote unquote United States citizen? No. But based off the immigration judges, he is under protective status. So it ain't nothing that you could do about it.
Right.
If we wouldn't even be having this conversation again, it'll still be dastardly, but we wouldn't even be having this conversation if you just went through the actual processes of, let's say, rejecting his guardianship under the civil liberties of the United States. But hey, it was one guy that tried to do that. Again, me and Vekes said it. He did it late, but at least he tried to do it. Trump said don't do it because it was going to weaken his case to be the next president of the United States.
Yep.
I'm always go back to that because this is where the cookie crumbles at the end of the day. You're not going to solve this problem. I don't give a damn how many quote unquote illegals you deport. You're not going to solve the problem if you don't put the actual system in place to solve the problem. How do you do that? More immigration judges, more borders and customs agents, more ICE agents. Trump just said to hell with that. We're going to deputize everybody and we're going to break into people's houses and kidnap them on the side of the street. And when we take the damn black bag over their head, they're going to be in El Salvador. That's basically like he bypassed the actual checks and balances of due process. He bypassed. That's
Right.
crazy to me. I don't know what to say.
Right, because since Trump has taken office, like you said, he shut down the Biden deal with the Republicans. And since he's taken office, I think he may have passed an executive order related to the border, but it's nowhere near the
It's not
strength.
enough. Right,
Exactly.
it's not enough.
And that's the thing that's just so puzzling, because the Democrats conceded, said, hey, Republicans, we concede you on this issue. What do you want? You can have it. They opened up a genie bottle of wish lists that Republicans wanted for decades. This was a huge moment in time. The Republicans shelved it because your president, you people's president, too weak at the time as the worst candidate in American history, too weak to actually follow through with anything to get elected.
Come up with his own policy.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't do it.
No.
He couldn't do it at all. So moving on to what happened next. Pam Bondi was at the Justice Department giving something about transgender in school. Who gives a damn at this point? And a reporter asked her out the update on what was going on with Abrego Garcia. So let's check Pam Bondi out.
Legal alien who has been living
My bad, hold on.
illegally.
It started. I don't know why it does that. That's stupid. Here we go.
Topic over the past few weeks, Kilmar Abrego Garcia in Maryland. He's in a prison now in El Salvador. He was sent there. You insist, the president, everybody in the administration insists that he is MS-13. It appears that there's not going to be any sort of trial. He's not going to come back. DHS said he would be arrested and redeported if he comes back. Why not show the American people the evidence that he's MS-13 so they can make an informed decision? And that goes the same with this Henry Josue Santos, who was picked up in Virginia, who is now presumably going to be deported as well. Why not show the public the evidence?
Well, he is an illegal alien who has been living illegally in our country from El Salvador. ICE testified, an immigration judge ruled he was a member of MS-13. An appellate judge ruled he was a member of MS-13. Hard stop. He should not be in our country. He was deported. They needed one additional step in paperwork, but now MS-13 is characterized as they should be, as an FTO, as a foreign terrorist organization. So he is not coming back to our country. President Bukele said he was not sending him back. That's the end of the story. If he wanted to send him back, we would give him a plane ride back. There was no situation ever where he was going to stay in this country. None. He would have come back, had one extra step of paperwork, and gone back again. But he's from El Salvador, he's in El Salvador, and that's where the president plans on keeping him.
The evidence, we're not going to see the evidence?
We have the transcripts from the court hearings. I'll be glad to give you the court hearings from 2019, what we have, sure, with the rulings from the judges, gladly.
Red alert. All hands stand to battle stations.
Warning. Nigga babble detected. System overload.
Yep.
Warning. Nigga babble detected. System overload.
Never in my days would I think that we would have a sitting attorneys general of the United States of America just sit up there and lie the entire time. No judge ever said that this man was MS-13. No judge said that. In fact, that same judge is the one that gave him the protective status to be here. Wow. Like, how is this legal, Van Cat, is what I'm trying to figure out.
This is very, very dangerous here, because The Trump administration claimed to be concerned and want to help the issue of quote unquote these gangs or foreign terrorist organizations. And how are you helping your cause by going double down, toes in on an issue you're clearly wrong on? So now you're targeting people that are not active in a gang, not doing any of the major rule breaking or killings or whatever the hell, and you're going all in on this. Meanwhile, the real the real egregious offenders untouched. And as far as I'm concerned, the more I see of them tormenting a guy like this, the more I know that the other guys that are really doing the issues are free to go about. Nothing here to see. And it's not a good look when the administration is headed by an actual criminal themselves. That's something we can't get past, people. This nigga got 34 counts, man. And since he's been in office, has major violations that are right now trying to be litigated in court right now. So he can't stay out of the court system in any shape of imaginable at all. So yeah, that it's very problematic because it's a self-defeating thing. So it's one of two things. It's either they're just that dumb or they really don't care about getting the criminals, the real criminals or whatever. It's just a talking point. They know that in polling, it polls good. So they're pushing that to make it look good. Because if you look at Trump's poll numbers across many different platforms, there's like one or two things that's good and everything else is bad. Everything from his policies, the way he thinks, what he's focused on, everything is in the negative except for immigration and one other issue. But the economy and all these things that were once a strength, which I don't understand how is a guy that filed for bankruptcy 6 times, his strength is going to be the economy. That is just a no-brainer thing. I don't even understand that one. But, here we are, people. Here we are.
People are desperate, man. Yeah, that's just what it comes down to. And they'll accept pretty much anything that they believe. And again, that it goes back to the populism issue, right? And like I explained, with populism, you always have to have a reasoning behind the desperation. Whether it be positive or negative, it really doesn't matter. As long as you got a reasoning behind it, people will run with it because they don't know what else to do. But shout out to Kelly Rader, resident MAGA maniac, is back in the building. She said this. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Say what you were saying. I wanted to say something after that. Go ahead.
Yeah, she said, I agree with due process, but I can't lie and say that I give a fuck about this dude. Sorry, not sorry. That's fine. I ain't got no issue with you saying that. But at the end of the day, legal actions is all about precedent. You can't have enforcement without precedent. You set a bad precedent when you allow somebody, despite whether you give a fuck about them or not, allow somebody to be punished without due process. So that sets the bad precedent to lock me, you, and everybody else up just off word of mouth. I don't think it's supposed to work like that in the United States of America.
Nope.
But if the precedent is there, who gives a damn? Go ahead, Venkat.
Well, it's very troubling because you're going about your life, your everyday life. You're not doing anything, and then you get this brought upon you. And it's not like this is an isolated case. There are many and plenty others. Some we featured last week that are just being targeted for voicing their opinion, maybe a disagreement with the Trump administration. That's not grounds to try to exploit them and exact revenge on them, shut them down on school campuses, whatever the case may be. But what this story is telling you is that even when they get it wrong, not only will they not try to make it right, but they're going to double down in the dumb, bathe in ignorance. And This person didn't, I feel, didn't break any damn law, and we're doing political theater to try to prop it up and make it some sort of indication of, hey, see, this is the problem, and we need to take care of this. If there's nothing there, back off. You've made a mistake. I mean, the Trump administration has made many mistakes, and they've had to back off, embarrassingly so. But the fact that you're living your law-abiding life, you have a family, and then somebody comes and turns your world upside down, things cannot be a problem until it becomes your problem. Because before it gets to you, you made the problem way bigger when it was violating others that were not you. So it's ridiculous. I think this country will find out roughly here, because I don't understand how people could be so cool with injustices like that. You can have a great time right now and clown, but as time progresses and you have your problem, don't be crying, oh my God, at that particular time.
Right. Yeah, so hey, you absolutely right, man. Like I said, to me, it's not about any type of empathy or sympathy for this guy. It ain't about that. It could have been anybody else. It's about what precedent does this set for the future. That's I guess the fear that I have based on what's happening right now. We have a tendency to either have a compassionate side or brutal side, instead of looking at the issue in and of itself. To me, it could have been anybody else. I don't care. The issue is somebody has been unlawfully imprisoned just off of nothing. No charges, no prosecution, nothing. Like I said, this wouldn't be a story had Trump did it the right way, and all of these people that's getting rounded up had their day in an immigration court. This wouldn't even be an issue. I have to chalk it up, say, hey, it is what it is. Like the immigration judge disqualified them for temporary citizenship, and on a path to permanent citizenship. It is what it is. What can I say about that? That's the law. Bypassing the law ain't the move. So the last thing on this, Tuesday, Chris Van Hollen, the Congressman Chris Van Hollen, he said he was going to El Salvador. He was there yesterday, and they pretty much denied him any access to this notorious, I believe they call it CCOT, this prison. Mm-hmm. Everybody else been able to go. They just had a Republican congressman was in there taking selfies. How you get to do that?
Oh, Lord.
But this guy, he can't get no access. Let's see what he got to say.
The Trump administration to help facilitate his release. So the Trump administration is present. Now the courts of the United States have said there's no evidence to support the charge that he's part of MS-13. So I asked the vice president whether or not El Salvador has any evidence that he's part of MS-13 or has committed a crime. So I asked the vice president if Abrego Garcia has not committed a crime, and the U.S. courts have found that he was illegally taken for the United States, and the government of El Salvador has no evidence that he was part of MS-13, why is El Salvador continuing to hold him in CCOT? And his answer was that the Trump administration is paying El Salvador, the government of El Salvador, to keep him at CCOT. And I pointed out that neither the government of El Salvador nor the Trump administration has presented evidence to support the claim that he's committed any kind of criminal acts. And so why not release Abrego Garcia today. And he said what President Bukele said the other day at the White House, which that El Salvador can't smuggle Mr. Abrego Garcia into the United States. And I said, I'm not asking him to smuggle Mr. Abrego Garcia into the United States. I'm simply asking him to open the door of CCOT and let this innocent man walk out. And I pointed out that the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, has said that the United States would send a plane to El Salvador to pick him up. And why did she do that? Because the Supreme Court of the United States, in a ruling of 9-0, has said that the Trump administration has to facilitate his return to the United States. Now, there's no evidence that the Trump administration is complying with that order. There's no evidence that they're complying with that order. In fact, the United States Embassy here has told me they've received no direction from the Trump administration to help facilitate his release. So the Trump administration is clearly in violation of American court orders. But that still leaves the question, why is the government of El Salvador continuing to imprison a man where they have no evidence he's committed any crime, and they've not been provided any evidence from the United States that he's committed a crime?
So Chris Van Hollen told you what's going on. They weren't able to provide him any information on Abrego Garcia. He was denied entry into the prison like all the other MAGA maniacs was able to go, but he wasn't able to go. They asked him, hey, at least can I talk to him over the phone? They said the embassy has to facilitate that. And he couldn't get in touch with anybody to get the ball rolling. So they basically over there, you know, he jacking off over there pretty much. There ain't nothing going on. You might as well come on back home.
Well, there is something going on. He probably getting beat the hell up every day by the guards and by the inmates. I mean, his whole life is just like changed right now. He's not going to be the same person.
Yeah. And like I said, it's clearly El Salvador and the United States is in cahoots. Clearly. Like, I don't think there's no denying it. I can't prove it. But from a diplomatic standpoint, there's nothing that's stopping Trump from just making the call and getting this guy out of prison. Nothing. Was it not just a couple of weeks ago? Trump was able to get what's the dude name? Andrew Tate from Romania of all places.
Yeah, right. That's so true. That is so true.
Like this is crazy. And so Kelly Ray says again, an illegal wife beater. So yesterday, Caroline Leavitt had a press conference saying that she had some stuff from, I believe it was from 2019 or 2021, one of them dates, saying that his wife put a restraining order out on him. What they got to do with me? I don't give a damn.
But didn't the wife talk about how he needs to come back home and all this other stuff?
Yeah. So the wife she made a statement, I believe, late yesterday, saying that they was arguing or whatever, and she put a restraining order on him. Said the dude never touched. But even if that happened, who gives a damn? Was he charged with domestic abuse?
Nope.
No. So what do I care? See, we play games when it comes to this false sense of morality that we got. Again, what do I always say, Venkat? There's no such thing as morality. It's not. We play games to try to provide ourselves with reinforced comeuppance. It's all bullshit at the end of the day. If you follow the law, none of this is possible. Go ahead.
But was Trump accused and trial?
Yeah, we a wife beater. Yeah, Trump done. This man is a liable sexual offender.
Exactly. In court, $83 million has to pay out.
But again, because of our biases, a MAGA maniac will say, "Who gives a damn?" And I agree. Who gives a damn? As it relates to politics, but like don't do the double standard game with me. That's all I'm saying. Don't do it.
It's not equal at all. It's all for show. It's not equal. Nothing that a MAGA maniac is saying is genuine, and you can't stand on a solid footing if you're so wishy-washy. Literally, I mean, Donald Trump just shows everything that's wishy-washy. One minute he's doing this, the next minute he's stopping. Look at the stock market. I mean, if that ain't the definition of wishy-washy, I don't know what is.
Right. So this is gonna be an ongoing saga. Who knows what the ultimate outcome will be? But I do know this, again, like I said, if that man steps foot back on United States soil,
He's a
millionaire. As soon as his toe touches United States soil, it's gonna be dollar signs in his eye.
Yep.
Cause he gonna break them. He gonna break them. There go your tax dollars right there, Kelly Ray. There they go.
Yeah. That's so much for government efficiency.
Yeah. He gonna efficiently sue the fucking United States government. It's gonna be real efficient. And again, we talking about the federal government at the end of the day. Yeah, it's Trump. He gonna try to placate it and stretch it out, but that's money. That's money. I would love to sue the federal government. I would love to do it. Like I said, put my ass in the gulag. I could probably withstand it for a couple of weeks. You know what I'm saying? He an instant millionaire. That wife knows it. His lawyer knows it, and he gonna know it as soon as he get back over. Like I said, he enduring some pain right now.
Yeah.
But if he's still alive.
Oh my God.
If he's still alive, because again, the story behind the whole situation was that the gang was recruiting him after his brother had already left to go to the United States. So they own his ass. Like I said, I don't know what goes on, and I don't know how that prison goes when the cameras ain't on. But I know how American prisons go. And this supposed to be the worst of the worst. Hey, I don't know, man. Like I said, we gonna keep up with the story. Cause this is your modern. That's what this is. So we gonna keep up with it. So let's go to these other, and then we gonna get into the meat. We're gonna talk about the thing. Oh, another quick video. Linda McMahon.
Oh God.
McMahon was at a conference earlier in the week, right? And this is what she had. She was talking about education in the school system.
A1 in the house.
This is what she had to say.
I think it was a letter or a report that I heard this morning. I wish I could remember the source, but that there is a school system that's going to start making sure that first graders or even pre-Ks have A1 teaching, every year starting, that far down in the grades. And that's a wonderful thing. Kids are sponges. They just absorb everything. And so it wasn't all that long ago that we're going to have internet in our schools. Woo. Now, okay, let's see A1 and how can that be helpful? How can it be helpful in one-on-one instruction? How can it be helpful in absorbing, more information for those fast learners? It can be more one-on-one directed. And those are the kinds of things and innovations that I want to see continue to develop.
I 100% agree with Linda McMahon.
Oh my God.
I wish I had A1 when I was at school.
Oh my God. This is a classic case of bad DEI hiring right here. This woman is politicking for schools to have A1 steak sauce, people. A1 is not AI. My goodness, A1. That's what the kids need. They need some A1 steak sauce in this bitch. This is ridiculous, man. There's
So
a
so
big grown ass woman that supposedly was a part of the rise of the multi mega big time world wrestling entertainment conglomerate company, and like she comes out here talking A1. You could tell this bitch backwards as hell. She ain't even up to date to the 90s. Like she's still somewhere in the 80s and the 70s in her mindset. This is crazy.
well, A1 took to social media and they wholeheartedly agree with Linda McMahon. They said agree, best to start them early. Every school and every child should be afforded the gratitude of having A1. And I wholeheartedly agree. The food would have been so much better if I only had A1 steak sauce. Because you can put A1 on anything.
If A1 got stock, man, that's the one positive thing for them, man. God damn.
Yeah. Yeah,
This
you can
is
put A1 on
outrageous.
anything, man. You know, I ain't no Heinz 57. I hate Heinz 57. But A1, I wholeheartedly agree. So
MD, this is lame duck. This lame duck territory right here, MD. This is on legendary status type lame duck. Classic case of a lame duck.
So yeah, the new education initiative is to make sure that we can bring A1 to every child in our education system here in America. So I urge y'all to band together and put out this plea so we can get A1 in every school. You know, I'm gonna do my part. I'm going to the grocery store tomorrow, so I'm gonna do my part.
Oh my God. She letting everybody know, man. She letting everybody know she is not prepared for this job.
That's crazy. So on quick other headline from the Hill, third top Defense Department official placed on leave amid a leak. We got a mole in the Defense Department, y'all. We got a mole, and Pete Hegseth don't know what the hell is going on.
Oh boy. Talk about
he don't know what's
DEI.
going on. There you go again. As a matter, this is the third one that they've had to put on administrative leave. The first two was Pete Hegseth's own people. I forget what the actual the thing was called before. Damn, what was it called? Concerned Veterans for America. The nonprofit that he was in when he was getting drunk and fondling women.
Oh wow.
He brought two of those people with him to the Defense Department and had to let them go. Right.
Only the finest there, man. I mean, the selection process, a deep selection process for these people.
So somebody's leaking information, and it looks like it's going around pretty much everywhere. You know, on top of that, we also had a whistleblower. So NPR is reporting the whistleblower disclosure details how Doge may have taken sensitive labor data. Now, we know Doge's latest fiasco was in the NLRB, which is the National Labor Relations Board. They've been trying to go through there and see what they can cut through there. But a whistleblower within that administration said that, he has reason to believe that whatever they did on the system at the NLRB was left open and potentially data was leaked out of that system to a foreign country. That's what the whistleblower is saying.
Wow.
All this stuff is impeachable offenses, and hell, the way the whistleblower is talking, he's saying it was done deliberately.
Wow.
So we're talking about espionage at the end of the day, Venkat.
Yeah, the country's so much safer with these niggas than here, boy. My God.
We're talking about potential espionage here. Like, this is crazy. It says the small independent federal agency investigates and adjudicates complaints about unfair labor practices. It stores reams of potentially sensitive data, from confidential information about employees who want to form unions to proprietary business information. That's what the NLRB do. Why does a foreign country need information like this? To me, I don't get it. But again, whistleblowers have tended to be right when it comes to the federal government. They got a history of doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So based on what the whistleblower is saying, again, he has reason to believe that the access to this sensitive information was left open, and there has been reports with internally that foreign IP addresses have been on that system. So this may be a bigger story than we realize, folks. It's just starting now. But man, this may blow up into some again. Russia. You remember that?
Yep.
This may be part 2.
Oh man.
So the last headline we're gonna go to, the Times of Israel leak of New York Times of core plans to strike Iran's nuclear sites, likely to harm U.S.-Israel ties, security officials said. Now today, a report came out that Trump stopped. Israel was going to bomb Iran. That was their plan.
Oh boy.
They said Trump stopped it because he wanted to see if he could put a deal together. Somebody in the Defense Department or wherever done leaked that now. Everybody leaking. It just leakage everywhere.
But this is the same thing that happened in the first administration, the first term.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So obviously it's people internally within the administration that are not happy with the shit that's going on at the end of the day.
Nope.
And they leaking a bunch of information to the media to say, hey, look, like I'm the anonymous guy. Here you go, right here. Wink, wink. So again, I don't think Trump has the loyalists that he wanted. He may have them like in top cabinet position, but top cabinet positions can't run everything. You got to have a staff in order to be a well-oiled machine. But is that staff loyal to Trump at the end of the day? That's why these institutions are supposed to be independent, because it shouldn't matter who the president is.
Right.
Do the damn job. But when you politicizing everything, this is the result. This is the result. So,
Which, by the way, Trump said Harvard's politicizing things, so he needs to go ahead and pull that funding. Like the most politicized person on the planet is accusing an organization of being politicized.
Yeah, I wrestled with putting that as a headline, and I'm gonna talk about it next week though. Next week's show, the truth about Project 2025 Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're gonna do the comparison between what we see now and what I tried to explain to everybody in Part 1. It's clear as day now, and that Harvard situation is Exhibit A, pretty much.
Well, could you imagine if Joe Biden or any other Democrat do the things that he's doing, the pulling of funds and whatnot, and the attacking of lawyers, and just, I mean, come on, he's like imposing his will on actual companies. If you're not doing it the way that I'm saying it should be, if you're not getting me your DEI programs, if you're not doing all the things, then I'm going to go after you, legally or illegal, whatever the hell you're doing. But it's just crazy. Like a president is single-handedly going after sectors of the economy that we have here, actual businesses, and actually attacking them. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah.
A Democrat do that, and it's the end of the world.
Yeah, it's over with. It's over with. He's basically trying to restructure the entirety of the institutions of America.
Yep.
I don't know what else to say. Like I said, man,
the guy with the brain of Donald Trump trying to make this a blueprint for this country. That's a scary ass thought, man. That's a scary thought.
Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna get into the meat of the show. I want to play this Bill Maher monologue. So we're gonna watch the entirety of the monologue. At any point in time, VACAT, if you want me to stop the video, just say stop. I'll stop it if it's something that catch your fancy and you want to go off on it.
All right.
Bill Maher's been in the news as of late. He met with Trump last weekend. He told us all about it on real time. And people are not happy.
And just to let it be known, this is the same Bill Maher that said Trump's mom effed the orangutan as a joke, and then Donald Trump sued him. I mean, my God.
Again, like I said, I never liked the guy. So, it is what it is on that. I think he's condescending. I think, he don't really understand the world around him as it pertains to certain social issues that are all encompassing. Now, I'm the individualist. Everybody know that. But I understand the aspects of reality as it pertains to socio-political thinking, socio-political reaction, and things of that nature. To me, Bill Maher seemed like a extreme, introverted, like I said, condescending.
Yep.
He don't base anything on reality, and that's the thing I never liked it about Bill Maher. And to me, he ain't funny at all.
No, his stand-ups are horrible. I liked watching the show, but even now I can't watch the show. I really only watch like the new rules part of it, and even then it's like whatever. But he kind of lost me when he went off on Stan Lee. Oh man, you have a problem with Stan Lee, you got problems in life. That's just crazy. The man made Spider-Man, for God's sakes, man. Come on.
All right, so again, we gonna watch the entirety of the monologue. Again, Van Catch, if you want to stop it anywhere, just let me know. So I'm gonna stop it right there. So this is my problem with Bill Maher. Bill Maher likes to fancy himself this moderate, right?
But it wasn't always this way. It wasn't always this way.
You're right. It wasn't always this way. But as of since I would say since Trump won, he's fancied himself as his moderate.
Yeah.
This is not a moderate. This ain't got nothing to do with policy, and that's what I try to explain to people. This ain't like Mike like to say it a lot. The fence drive. Trump ain't got shit to do with policy. You can't use that argument in this situation. This is about the very foundations of America falling or not. You know what I'm saying? We can argue about policy later. They're like, this ain't policy. This is authoritarianism versus a democracy based in the Republic of the Constitution. So he's already trying to rationalize out the gate.
Yeah.
Out the gate. Let's continue.
He needs to stop. That's the bull, man. He needs to stop. Playing that role, man. Come on, Bill Maher. Yeah. Get out of here.
Yeah. He trying his best to be the individualist, but he ain't the individual. Only I'm the individualist. He can't do it because it comes off as rationalization. Again, this is not an issue. You just said this man talked all this stuff about you, hurling insults at you, which is not the issue that we face. You are at the end of the day, you're a talk show host. You have political figures on your show to talk policy. Am I correct on that, Van Cat?
Oh yeah.
Why wasn't Trump willing to come on your show? or at the very least, you go to the White House and set the camera up and y'all do the show there. Why do you have to come back and report to us what the fuck happened? That's a problem in and of itself.
Right. Do they even have footage?
No.
Ugh.
So let's continue.
God.
You want me to stop right there, man?
Yeah, I mean, come on. This whole idea, like, he's bad in the public perception, but when you get close to him, he's a completely different guy. Maybe we should give him a chance. Don't give me that crap. It's just, I hate that. So many others have done this. where they're just like acting like there's a whole other world the way that Trump acts and behaves when he's in front of you. He's a very, very hilarious guy, and he's very cool to be around. And I don't want to hear that crap. That cool to be around guy is taking away your rights. Hey God, why is he trying to like soften anything on Trump? Trump wants to make his image a certain way. Let Trump do it through his actions. But you don't need to be a propaganda mouthpiece to to change. I don't even know why is he doing it? What is up with these niggas, man? Like I don't even need this. He shouldn't even be talking about this. He needs to get to like what the hell they were talking about in general and get to the meat of it. But like all this is just extra crap. We haven't even touched anything that's of validity.
All right, let's see let's see if it happens. Let's see.
Including it himself.
Let me stop right there. So he basically just said that they were talking about the 2020 election, and he mentioned the word lost, basically insinuating that he lost the 2020 election. Trump never says that in public. So essentially what you're saying is,
well, he did one time.
Yeah.
He lost
we talked
by a
about
whisker.
it. Yeah, we talked about
whisker. Yep.
But even up to now, he still say the election was stolen.
Oh, of course,
He's still saying
deny.
So, generally speaking, based off y'all conversation, you're saying that it's a gimmick that he's playing on TV. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
We talk about the president of the United States playing a gimmick,
trolling.
So I'm supposed to like be okay with that.
And what's the other thing too is like one of the reasons he's been elected is they felt like he was authentic. And isn't this the most?
But that just proved that he wasn't authentic.
Exactly, the most unauthentic president that we could have right here. Somehow, everyday working men and women are going to relate to this guy. That's crazy.
Let's continue on. Now, let me stop it right there real quick. I find that statement that he said very revealing. That he would never feel as comfortable talking to like a Clinton or Obama like he talked to Trump. Well, why is that? First of all, you just showed your card that you would have been intimidated by Obama and Clinton policy-wise. You would have been intimidated. Why? Because you just a low-level comedian with an HBO show. You don't know shit. You babbling just like everybody else, like me and you babbling. You babbling. Yep. Obviously, you know, based off of the statement that you just made, that Trump is babbling too. That's just a fact. And I find it so ironic, right? He didn't give no basis behind why he said this. Bill Maher, the so-called atheist.
Yep.
Love the fact that the embassy was moved from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Why? What does it matter? I'm just saying. I don't know either. Let's continue.
Well, one thing I would say here is, so he says he won't feel comfortable doing that to Clinton or Obama, but he feels very comfortable with Trump. That's not really a good thing if you really think about it. Why would he feel so comfortable to say that with Trump? He's already perceived as an imbecile or a dumbass, right? With Clinton and Obama, they're more tight-knit. They're more on top of it. They take daily briefings. They get intelligence information. Donald Trump declines a lot of that. So when Donald Trump makes the decision, it's not generally an informed decision. And it leads to these weird moments and failures that we experience. So you would have a bit more comfortability talking to Donald Trump as opposed to talking to past leaders of the country that actually would govern it. So I don't know if that's not a real good thing for Donald Trump. It really made Donald Trump look stupid. But it's not going to be perceived like that through MAGA maniacs or Bill Maher at this point. He's not even really looking at it that way.
Exactly. All right, let's continue.
These days.
Yeah, MD, stop it real quick.
Yeah,
And
go ahead.
so he's talking about the orangutan thing that I mentioned earlier, right?
Right.
So, he's like, I don't like the fact that you said my dad was an orangutan. I love my dad. And then Bill Maher's replied to that, which, makes sense. You were dogging the first black president, messing with his origins and whatnot. And you're at that point just trying to degrade where he comes from. And then he says Trump smile, and then Bill Maher's interpretation of the smile is, oh, he gets it. That smile could mean a lot. That smile could be, oh yeah, you got me.
Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. It could be, oh, you know my intentions were to just do race baiting and blah blah blah. That smile can mean a whole lot, but it's just amazing and convenient that Bill Maher took it as that.
Again, a lot of it don't make sense to me, like at all. And you explaining it to me is even worse. You know what I mean? Because I can only go off your perspective.
Yep.
That's all I can do. But let's continue.
Hey, MD, man, that
There you
right
go.
there, man. That is the real basis for what that was about. That was
Right.
the agenda right there, to frame that narrative and that story. That, I don't know if he's trying to appeal to Trump's nicer side or whatnot, but that's the narrative this whole thing was about. Trying to say, well, he looks like this, but in reality, he's not like this. And I don't go for that. I don't go for that at all. And I think by trying to make that okay, that's problematic in itself, right? Because when is the responsibility going to kick in, especially in the highest office? You want to play a caricature of yourself. You want to play political games, be one way in public, be another way, blah, blah, blah. You want to do all these things. When you do those things, you need to take the consequences for those actions. So I don't know, man. He's trying to appeal to him, trying to get on his nice side, and maybe he could help, slip in some ideas that maybe he wants or likes. But I don't like that at all. I say the way you act, the way you behave, that's on you. I ain't trying to hear all this other crap from Bill Maher. You're not gonna change my perception of that with that weak ass argument of his.
Yeah. It's definitely weak, based on the fact that we're supposed to accept that he's playing a character in the role of the president of the United States of America. Where is that like a thing? You're displaying the unseriousness,
yeah,
of not only the person but the position in this moment where the fucking world is falling apart.
Yep.
Like I can't I can't do it. I can't do it. It makes me feel that you're as much as unserious as Trump is.
Yep.
So what validity does your word have now? Like I said, I'd never rock with Bill Maher. My mom used to love him for whatever reason. She watched him I think he comes on Saturday night, right?
No, Friday.
Friday, yeah, Friday. She used to watch him every week. I can't do it. I can't do it. But let's watch this last little bit and we'll give our final thought. So you didn't talk about none of that while you was there?
Yeah, that would kind of be the thing to talk about.
Crazy, man. Again, that's crazy.
Oh, that don't sound right. These two big ass niggas saying that don't sound right, man.
I told you Bill Maher is not funny. I told you that.
That don't sound right at all, man. No. MD. So
go ahead.
This is shades of TYT, Jink Uger and Anna Kasparian right here. where the idea is if we talk to the other side, blah, 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 all this other crap. First of all, we can't normalize what the hell we're seeing right now. These issues were not here. Politics always had, these crazy problems and blah, blah, blah. But it never got to this degree until Trump. And the disingenuous nature of the conversation here, acting like Trump isn't a huge reason for the turmoil we are facing right now in the not only political landscape, but in the society, in the world, in this country, you name it, he's influenced it. A lot of what Trump, since he's come out in 2015, down that escalator, has influenced a lot of things. Racists got brave again. You have all these hate crimes that have happened. You have all this acceptance of questionable, immoral, and lewd behavior by Trump. About everything he does gets disregarded and is okay. And the double standard.
They blow it off.
Yeah. The double standard is just ridiculous. So I don't appreciate when Cenk and Anna and this jackass and others that try to play that
Joe Scarborough, Mika Brzezinski.
Right. Let's make an effort to do right and do this. And the guy architect this environment. He's literally in the middle of Project 2025 doing more damage. And this is the point where you're trying to say kumbaya. That's like ridiculous to me. At the most crucial moment, you decide to put down your resistance on this, because that first term in 2016, Bill Maher was one of the main ones rallying against Trump and pointing out the dangers of the administration. Now we're in a reality where people are questioning whether or not to bring up the bad things that Trump do, because they feel like it becomes a smokescreen and then people don't want to pay attention. I don't want to hear that crap, man. You do some crap, you do some crap. Just call it out for what it is. I don't think we need to make the environment okay to accept these devious behaviors. I don't think so. I don't think that's the right way to go. To just go into complete submission mode is ridiculous.
Right. So yeah, we've seen enough of this video. Like I said, it's only a couple more seconds. So there's tinfoil hat talk going around saying that maybe Warner Brothers Discovery made him go and talk to Trump so they can like get some of the smoke off of their backs, because they see what's getting ready to come. A report came out this week with Brendan Carr and the FCC saying he about to go get ready to start going after the networks.
Right.
Do you think that was a possibility?
100%. 100%. This is why CNN is behaving the way they are, getting rid of certain anchors that are completely against Trump. This is definitely what's happening. And it's kind of jarring for me because, again, it's supposed to be the United States, and the press is supposed to be a free press capable of critiquing the current administration, and it shouldn't be an issue. And the fact that we're in a time where we're okay, Trump has turned the fake news argument and made it his own, while simultaneously saying that this news organization, this news media is invalid. This news media group tells lies, misconstrue pretty much everything he does. And the people that follow him go along with it. But the problem is the people that follow him are never enough. Somewhere in there, the fence riders, as Mike would say, the independents kind of bleed. And a lot of these independents, they ain't real independents. They're ashamed Republicans. Let's be real. A lot of people that claim to be independents is just afraid and ashamed of the Republican Party. So they put themselves down as independent. That's really what it is. So I don't know, man. This whole thing is so problematic. News media should not be bending no knee to a presidential candidate, or any kind of political figure. Period. You're supposed to report on that, and that's the problem that's happening.
Right. So yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I couldn't have said it better. Like I said, again, next week, we're gonna be talking about the truth of Project 2025 Part 2, and we're gonna get into that with this whole thing with them going after the networks. Again, a report just came out this week that they trying to defund NPR and PBS, and people are upset. I grew up on PBS.
A lot of us have.
Right, and like I said again, the problems that we face now are much bigger than you rationalizing, trying to find common ground with Trump. I don't give a damn about common ground. The time for talk is over with. It was over with November the 6th.
Yep,
like that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, we'll see. And I don't know yet. We may have an exclusive, because Oscar the Grouch, he's the only one on Sesame Street with MAGA. I may have an exclusive interview with Oscar next week. So we'll see how that goes, and if I can make that happen. So all right, so we're gonna get into the main event. We're talking about Black MAGA, the truth about Black MAGA. This is gonna be another ongoing series. Again, it's too many of them to try to psychoanalyze and dissect. But let's play this short intro video, and we're gonna get going. Let me play this. I gotta find it first. Here we go.
Did you ever think that she actually appointed you, Tim? And think of it, appointed, and you're the senator of his state, and she endorsed me. You must really hate her. No, it's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh. I just love you. No, that's why he's a great politician.
Not going to make it an issue.
But Senator, will you commit to accepting the election results of 2024? Bottom line.
Well, at the end of the day, the 47th president of the United States will be President Donald Trump. And I'm excited to get back to low inflation, low unemployment.
Wait, Senator, yes or no? Yes or no? Will you accept the election results of 2024 no matter who wins?
That is my statement.
Donald Trump said that people are eating cats and dogs in Ohio. Because I want to. I just want to know. I would love to know if you think he's losing touch with reality a little bit.
No, absolutely not. Second of all,
you saw it on TV.
Second of all, the reality is she dodged every major policy question.
But you're dodging this question.
What matters more to the American people?
People are eating dogs and cats in Ohio.
You're not listening. I actually do care about what is happening to our country.
Same.
Do you want to answer or you want me to answer?
You can go first.
Okay. I actually care about what's happening to this country. All right, next.
And there was plenty of prejudice in those days. They talk about racism now. Racism now, that is a joke. Compared to what I grew up with, that is a joke. And guess what? Everything won't be racism after the election.
Working with Doge and the team at HUD, we have found $260 million in savings on contracts alone. With President Trump's leadership and finding all the waste, fraud, and abuse and streamlining our processes.
Okay, so that first video I'm talking about. Come on, be professional, Fat Cat. What are you doing?
That was perfect, MD. That was perfect.
So this video, we talking about the snub. You got Byron Donald, Tim Scott, Ben Carson. What's another? Well, those are the main three that were stepping hard. They were all up in the camera during the E. Jean Carroll trial at New York when they were supposed to be in Congress, stepping hard all through the campaign. At one point, Tim Scott was in the running for vice president. I think he was the first name off the list. What happened, Van Cat? What happened? Why they don't hold a cabinet position? Why is that?
Because they black. That's why. I mean, we can't dance around it because they black. And the
one guy, the one black guy, the HUD secretary, but he's a stumbling, bumbling idiot.
That's the one black job, that HUD. That guy went in there and got HUD up. That's the one black job. That's it, man. HUD all over the damn place. HUD, short for hood.
But that guy is a bumbling idiot. I call him. I forget what his name is. He the light skinned Herschel Walker. He's an idiot.
Oh man, yeah.
At least Herschel Walker got a job in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
At least he got that.
He got the perks on that one. Man, yeah, these niggas doing a happy Negro dance for a job that they were never seriously being considered. Trump used their ass to make it look like he has the appeal of any black support, and he was more than happy to use their ass. And even up to now, nothing has happened. No introduction of anybody up to this point. When all those jackasses got arrested, when Trump said he would never surrender, and then ceremoniously went into the to the police office and surrendered immediately, all those other people that got arrested from his administration connected to these crimes, they all got bailed out, except for one person that was in there the longest, that one black guy that was just there forever. Finally, he got out, but he lets you know what the agenda is. It's not about black people at all. And when you see blacks go out of their way to do that happy Negro dance, to get that approval, to get that attention, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I believe, because I saw Tim Scott do something that I'm like, okay, you know what? Tim Scott isn't as dumb as I think. I think he's transactional too. So Tim Scott, at one point during the election, used Trump to fundraise for himself. He's like, hey, we got to fight back against the mad liberals and blah, blah, blah. And Trump is being arrested. So donate to Trump's account or Trump's campaign. And then the link that he gave was actually a link for his funding and campaign.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
that was the first time that made me realize, okay, this is all transactional politics going on right here. Maybe Tim Scott isn't as dumb, and he's just playing a role. And this is a constant theme tonight's show: people playing a role to mitigate their political aspirations, and that's what Tim Scott was doing. So he gets a little leg up on that one, because at least he's not as dumb as I think he is. But
so he get a leg up off of grifting, is what you're saying.
Exactly. That's where we're at. That's the political climate we're in right now. The bar is definitely not the same in these days. So I mean, this is outrageous and crazy. But these black grifters, these black MAGA so-called supporters of Donald Trump, all they're doing is hopefully utilizing Trump's power and influence to make their own situation better. It hasn't worked out for Byron Donalds either. I mean, Byron Donalds got dissed by Ron DeSantis, when he put his name in a hat for a position in Florida. I think governor. He wants to be governor in
So
Florida.
how much of a possibility is that then, Van Cat?
Yeah, no possibility, none whatsoever.
Oh,
They're not
wow,
even.
wow.
They're not even.
Him,
They're not backing him
no,
up at all.
yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So you got a situation in Florida and in Michigan too with the guy. What's his name? John James, the other
Mm-hmm.
black MAGA guy.
Mm-hmm.
That are putting their names in the hat to possibly be governors. And
Yeah.
that was the question that I was going to ask you. Like, maybe it may be a silver lining down the road as far as governorships for, at the very least, Byron Donalds and John James. But you
That ain't
shot
happening.
that down.
No, that ain't happening. That
You
ain't
shot
happening.
that
Not a
down.
chance.
Oh, okay, so we're going to move on. Speaking of Byron Donalds, let's take a look at this news clip on something that happened to him. Is Byron Donalds authentic? You be the judge. Let's find out.
Make himself available. Instead, they sent an email that didn't answer any of my questions about the arguments. His Democratic challenger, Cindy Banyai, is talking. This video shows Donalds and his senior campaign advisor, Larry Wilcoxon, surrounding Kelly Lichter, who eventually tries to leave. But the congressman follows her and clearly appears angry over a lawsuit involving his wife.
Stop the lawsuits, Kelly. Stop that.
His aide and another man try to stop him before they discover they're being recorded.
And they video on it right now.
Now, I showed the video to Donald's staffer. We made multiple requests to speak to the congressman. He didn't make himself available. Instead, they sent an email that didn't answer any of my questions about the arguments. His Democratic challenger, Cindy Banyai, is talking.
Was that Byron Donalds just threatening a woman to a fight in a public place?
Then last Wednesday, this happened. Donald's campaign aide, Larry Wilcoxon, being restrained by a deputy and others after Lichter's husband, Nick, tells me he lunged at him during the Collier County Republican Executive Committee meeting, a room filled with fellow Republicans. During the Collier County Republican Executive Committee meeting, a room filled with fellow Republicans. Lichter saying, quote, I am grateful to Sergeant DiPaolo and Collier County Sheriff's Office and the brave veterans at the VFW for protecting me. Donalds is seen stepping in to pull his aide away.
Okay, this is bad.
The congressman was supposed to hold a town hall meeting on Fort Myers Beach the same day. He canceled.
Fire him, Byron.
Again, Donald's refusing to comment. Banyai is.
I guess he really is the new face of the Republican Party, full of bullying behavior.
Do you think he should apologize for this?
I think that's the least that he owes the woman that he was intimidating and the people of Southwest Florida.
Now, I want to be clear. I gave Congressman Donalds every chance to respond to these videos, and he chose not to. Dave Elias, NBC2.
All right, Venkat. So they basically running goon squad.
Yep. Against women.
Against women. So I think the story was it was some type of organization and Byron Donalds and his wife basically strong-armed it from this lady, and she sued. And Byron Donalds was trying to get her to drop the lawsuit, and he pretty much threatened violence against her if she didn't. And this other big nigga, he's supposed to be the campaign manager. Like some campaign manager, he going and shooting threats at people at the damn town hall.
Yeah, that's not a good look at all. I mean, imagine being a big black man with a bad attitude, threatening violence. That's not, I mean, I don't know where they're getting that kind of confidence from, whether you're in the Republican Party or not. That's not going to be a good look, and it's not going to pan out well for him. And, he ain't got no real support here. And, I mean, DeSantis then took his masculinity away already. He's dead in the water. I don't see Byron Donalds being significant for much longer. And I think if he runs for anything, he's going to get a rude awakening. But you definitely ain't going to make strides just attacking verbally and threatening physical violence to women of all. I mean, he ain't doing that to no man, by the way. He's very strong when it comes to a woman. So that's just not a good look at all. Just cowardly behavior by Byron Donalds.
Okay, all right. So next up we got Representative Burgess Owens. Burgess Owens, former football player, in an era where most of the Negroes that were playing football and got into politics are Republican. I find that also ironic. But a old football NFL player got into politics, Utah of all places. How the hell you end up in Utah, I don't know. But now you're a congressman in Utah. You're a MAGA maniac. and you're also a contributor to PragerU. Let's watch this quick PragerU video with Burgess Owens. Check this out.
Now, because great-great-grandpa Silas, my great-great-grandfather, Silas Burgess, came to America shackled in the belly of a slave ship. He was sold on an auction block in Charleston, South Carolina, to the Burgess plantation. Orphaned by age 8, he was fortunately surrounded by elder slaves who, though physically chained, mentally envisioned themselves as free men. They escaped, taking young Silas with them, making their way to West Texas. Silas worked hard and saved his money. Eventually, he became the owner of 102 acres of farmland, which he cultivated and paid off within 2 years. I proudly carry the name of my first American ancestor, who, like millions of others drawn or brought to our country, struggled past overwhelming obstacles to live the American dream. Silas founded the first black church, the first black elementary school in this town. He was a Republican, a Christian, and a pillar of his community. He was proud and industrious and taught his children to be the same. Now, because great-great-grandpa Silas was once a slave, so-called progressives want to give me money. Never mind that, like him, I'm an entrepreneur who received an excellent education, built businesses, raised a remarkable family, and unlike most white Americans, earned a Super Bowl ring. Because of work I've never done, stripes I've never had, under whip I've never known, these progressives want to give me money I've never earned. The fact that this money will be forcibly taken from others who also dreamed, worked, and sacrificed for it, I'm told is not my concern, but it is.
So wait a minute, I got to stop it. I wasn't gonna stop it, but I got to stop it. So white people all across this country is gonna be getting invoices in the mail saying payment due immediately. The reparations payment is due immediately. Second notice, third notice. I don't think it worked that way, but whatever. Let's continue on.
At the core of the reparations movement is a distorted and demeaning view of blacks and whites. It grants superiority to the white race, treating them as an oppressive people too powerful for black Americans to overcome. It brands blacks as hapless victims, devoid of the ability which every other culture possesses to assimilate and to progress. The reparations movement conveniently forgets the 150 years of legal, social, and economic progress obtained by millions of American minorities. It also minimizes the sacrifice of hundreds of thousands of white Americans and a Republican president who gave their lives to eradicate slavery. I think Grandpa Silas would have seen this loss of American lives as payment in full. Every grateful black American, then and now, will feel the same. The reparations movement also reinforces a view of racial relationships that undermines America's Judeo-Christian foundation. It defies the ideals of forgiveness and second chances and scorns individual accountability. Proponents of reparations believe that black Americans are incapable of carrying their own burdens, while white Americans must bear the sins of those who came before them. Proponents do not take into account the majority of white Americans who never owned slaves, who fought to end slavery, or who came to America long after it was ended. This divisive message marks the black race as forever broken, a people whose healing can only come through the guilt, pity, and benevolence of whites. Tragically, we now see this playing out on our college campuses. As young white Americans acknowledge their skin color as a privilege, young black Americans, with no apparent shame, accept their skin color as one that automatically confers victim status. In doing so, they seem unaware that this perception of blacks was shared by the 1960s Southern white supremacists of my youth. Those who seek reparations have accepted the theory that skin color alone is capable of making one race superior to the other, that with no additional effort, values, or personal initiative, white Americans will succeed while black Americans will fail. At its very core, this represents the condescending evil of racism. It certainly does not represent black America's potential. 40% of black
Oh, this
households
guy
today
is crazy.
live the middle-class American dream.
This nigga
There are
crazy.
thousands of black
This nigga crazy. He's saying some wild stuff. And the funny thing is, he's saying it in a monotone voice pattern and just spewing this crap out like it's plausible and genuine. Like, this is ridiculous. Skin color, and this, skin color, that is not a reason. Man, come on, dude. Like, it's the skin color isn't the reason for the superiority. The skin color just identifies the people that are going to get the support, the superiority of and the benefits of the racist structure that was built around this, the white supremacy.
And even to that point, Vank, you're absolutely right. But even to that point, let's understand this is a U.S. House of Representative member that should know basic history. Reparations it's not white people doing anything; it's the government. And last I checked, there's plenty of niggas in the government. So also ultimately, who's paying what? It's not a dissociation between white guilt and black victimhood. It's legislative promises that were made in the very chambers that you sit in right now, nigga. I don't give a damn about no superiority or victimhood or racial equality. Damn all that. Give me my money based on legislation that was passed down. I didn't do it. Y'all did it.
That's amazing. The whole thing started off, it was such a misdirect. Like, he goes about his black history and his black heritage and all the great proud things of being black and the things that you have to overcome, which for me, as a progressive, that's my whole thing is, why should I have to overcome a lot of these ridiculous circumstances and odds? That's just crazy. A black person is in the negative before they can even get to zero, let alone what the white person at the head start of it.
But Vank, he didn't overcome anything though. That nigga played football.
Exactly.
Everything that he got in life right now was because the nigga he was a DB because he could intercept the damn pass. Everything that you got right now based off of that. So you're lying at the end of the day.
Ignoring all the other hardships that the average black person is put under. And that's so okay. So in this unjust society with all these different things that are going on, financially, that the average person is just not going to get the kind of payday to get them through. For some reason, he got the skill and talent or whatever to do football, and that gave him a better, easier path to financial, security. But the majority of people that he called his peers and that are black like him, they didn't get that opportunity. And what do? They completely backhand everybody behind them as they get uplifted. And now he's using his black heritage as, see, look, I'm black, and how I hate when the Republican Party use the centuries old Republican Party as like this beacon of whatever, which the current day Republican Party does not embody any of those things that Lincoln's Republican Party and whatnot were doing back then. But they always show it as a shining beacon. Oh, blacks, they were Republicans. Yes, we know that history changed. And then when the racists got pissed, that were in the Democratic Party, for Democrats focusing on blacks in a positive way, they jumped ship and the whole thing changed. We know that happened in the 60s, 70s. We know that. I don't know why they keep trying to make it seem like a good thing with the Republican Party. It's not the same party, but they throw it out there like we're all good. So, you know, he's using the past as like, hey, I'm justified saying what I'm saying, and what I'm saying is you niggas don't need reparations, and you niggas need to stop being victims, and you niggas need to start
bootstrapperism.
Oh my God! And boy, do white people, I shouldn't say white, I should say racist white people, love to put front and center these mammies, these house niggas, these coons. These coons, they love to put them front and center and let them regurgitate their talking points so that it seems more authentic and legitimate. Look, it's not just us whiteys. Look at the Negro. He's saying it too. So it must be true. And it's just so horrible, man. Like when they do that, like you don't have anything good to say. You don't have anything good to offer society. Go spend your millions over there and get the hell out of my way, man. Like we don't need these kind of people in the society.
All right, let's finish this video up. I think it's only a minute left.
Americans among our nation's top 1% of income earners, doctors, lawyers, engineers, and professors, not to mention music, TV, film, and sports stars. Many of our society's most revered and celebrated citizens are Black.
Clearly, LeBron.
The journeys of these Americans to wealth and prominence vary, like those of their white counterparts. But many benefited from having ancestors, like Grandpa Salas, who embraced the opportunities their country provided and who left behind a legacy of proud, productive, patriotic, and successful families. Why should white Americans, my neighbors, friends, and fellow citizens, owe me anything? If Grandpa Salas were here, I'm certain his message to everyone, whether Black or white, would simply be this: good character cannot be bought by bribery.
Why do they owe him
Burgess Owens
anything?
from Prager University.
What do they owe him?
Thank you for watching this video. To help,
he's like, why do my white American friends, and neighbors and whatnot? Why do we owe him anything? Bitch, you ain't the one that was taking those lashes. Right. You came way after the fact.
Right, and it's not your white friends or probably white family too that owe you anything. It's not. It's the fucking federal government.
They're the ones that set up the friggin' rules of the game in the time that created the disparity.
And that's the game they play. They want you to believe that they want to personalize it to say, oh, my ancestors didn't own any slaves. I got here in the early, they want to do that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They personalize it that way. I continue to say it. The government don't work that way. I don't give a shit about your tax dollars. Hell, you're going to pay them anyway. So it don't really matter. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not about your tax dollars at all. But that's the Republican game. That's what it is. You got anything last on that? And I'm gonna go through these other videos quick, so we can get to what I really want to talk about.
That was it.
Okay.
That was it right there.
Okay, all right. Two quick videos, then we're gonna get into the main event. Check this guy out, CJ Pearson. Let's check him out, see what he got to say.
Now, guys, I'm gonna be real with y'all. White people deserve some credit today. Because why in the hell is Carmelo Anthony, that 17-year-old murderer, walking around the streets of Texas a free man? How is that even possible? This is an animal who killed a 17-year-old boy over a damn book bag, and right now in the state of Texas, he is a free man. Not only is he a free man, he is a man who is a lot more wealthier today than he was when he went into the jail cell, because the social justice warriors and BLM domestic terrorists have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in his name, because apparently murder is excusable just because he looks like us. Yeah, that's a damn shame. It's disgusting. Now imagine if the roles were reversed. Imagine if Carmelo Anthony was a white man, or actually imagine if he was a white man who was a police officer. And all of a sudden, his bail was reduced heavily and he was just allowed to walk out of jail scot-free. Oh, America would be burning to the ground right now. And that's not me speculating. I know this to be true because it happened just a few years ago. When the BLM thugs didn't get their way, they set America on fire. That is exactly what happened. But you won't see that happen in this case.
Man, these coons come out the closet, man. What the hell is the thinking? What is the mind state here? He has to be on some cracker payroll, man. He has to be.
Well,
Because
you mentioned grifting earlier.
It's crazy. Like, and he's like outraged, actually outraged. We witnessed all these people can't breathe, all these people getting shot up, and all these people getting just killed systematically on a bi-weekly basis for years in the early 2010s up to a certain point. That was just what was happening. And then people started rioting because they got tired of it. And then a guy went on his knee and they said, oh my God, how can you disrespect the flag and police? And then we fast forward to January 6th, and the same people that were outraged started beating the police with the flag. And they took a dump on Nancy Pelosi's desk on top of that. We can't forget that part. So I don't know, man. But this is just complete buffoonery right now. And he's on that video just like railing, like, nigga, sit down. Sit down. And that's the other thing. I gotta say this. I really gotta say this. There is something wrong with these new niggas. These new niggas that's out here that is they have not spent any time learning about the past, about slavery, about civil rights. They have done nothing. They've been exposed to none of it. And as a result, they're indifferent and they just don't really see the larger problem with what has happened in the country and where we are today and how it stands. They start believing that people that are Black, that are in impoverished situations and bad situations, somehow they're to blame on everything. Now, there are going to be people that, are the exception to the rule, that are pieces of trash, that abuse, that do fraud, that do all these things. But come on, they're going to be paled in comparison to the actual people that are just trying to live their life as decently as possible, and they have a lot of things going against them. That is something that is you can never deny that. But to put a microscope on the smaller part of the group of the Black population that's doing everything wrong, and to make that the overall message of all Black people, that's been the issue back in the 90s with rap music and Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood. Those things were pointing out that how we believe that all this gang, guns, and blah, blah drugs, that was like less than 3% of the population in the Black community doing that stuff. But for some reason, the entire 100% of the Black community got painted with that image. And when Blacks, especially these new niggas, go out of their way to perpetuate those decade-old stereotypes caused by Whitey, that is super problematic. Go ahead, MD.
YT. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. At the end of the day, and this is what's most troubling for me. We sit here and fight these battles that are really not battles. If we gonna look at the traditional Republican stance, has always been law and order. To respect the laws of this country and confide in that through a process. That's the order part. The man was charged and arrested. He had a hearing based on evidence that nobody knows, because it wasn't like, we don't know what the proceedings were in the bond hearing. CJ Pearson don't know shit, just like I don't know nothing. The bond was reduced. He was able to get out. That's called law and order. Why are we not trusting the process all of a sudden?
Because it doesn't fit his narrative.
There you go. And why would you even have a narrative to begin with? Is what I'm saying. No, without having an urge to grift. It's a hot topic, so I gotta capitalize on it as being a shuffling nigga. And I don't let me say this too before we move on. I've always said on this show, on other shows, I don't even like the term coon. I don't, because I know the history behind it. Right? I don't even like that. I don't even like that term. I'd rather just straight up call you a nigga than to call you a coon. Because
it's insulting to the coons. It's insulting to the raccoons.
You can look at it that way. You can look at it that way. But there's a more troubling history of that term than even nigga, because nigga has a cultural aspect to it. Coon, I know exactly where that come from. I don't even like that word. But in a lot of these cases, what else can you say? Let's go to one last short one. Then we're gonna get into the main event. This guy is named Rob Smith. Let's see what he got to say.
You know, this may be hard for some of you to get, but gay men are still men, right? You know, you can be gay and still be a man. You don't have to dress in drag. You don't have to be feminine. You don't have to do any of these other things that apparently everybody now is telling you that you need to do if you're a gay man. I mean, God, you can still play sports.
I thought this nigga was a gay man.
Surprise, surprise, hang out with straight people. You can do everything that a man can do, except hook up with women, unless you're bi and you're into that. So I don't know when the memo went out that just because you're gay, you need to be feminine or a drag queen or swishy or run through life as if you're Carrie Bradshaw. I don't know when that started happening, but I am here to tell you that it needs to stop happening, because gay men can still be men. We can still interact as men. We can still move through our lives as men. We can still make money like men.
So he is
we
gay.
can still be bosses like men. We can do everything straight men can do.
So yeah, you could tell he got a sweet tooth, akin to Hershey's cookies and cream.
I've seen him before. Every time I see this nigga talk, he always saying some bull crap, man. Every time.
What was the point of you telling me that you're a man's man? You're not. I mean, again, it's objective in the principle, subjective in the individual. Who gives a damn?
Who made this nigga the commissioner of gays?
I don't know.
Who the fuck gave him that type of political power?
I don't know that, and that's what I'm saying. And for you to emphasize this masculinity with just your very speech gives off non-masculinity. Again, who gives a damn? Who are you to portray the epitome of what the expression is supposed to be for anybody gay? Who gives a damn?
Well,
you like what you like.
You can be gay, but your gayness has to follow my criteria.
Exactly. I ain't never heard no crazy shit like that in my life.
Yeah, that's some ridiculous stuff.
Only a conservative could do that. Only a conservative. I'm sweet. I'm sweeter than a damn bag of caramel corn, but I'm gonna tell you how to be sweet in a manly way. Only a conservative can do that.
Yep.
That's crazy to me. Okay, so the end of that, like I said, it's a slew of other people. We will do a part 2 on this, because again, different perspectives of the same MAGA maniac mentality. But let's get to the last part of the show tonight. Let's play this video of one of the realest people on earth right now, Nick Fuentes. And like I said, I may get a strike for this. But I don't give a damn. Let's play Nick Fuentes. And if we got time at the end of the show, I'm gonna play a bonus video, which really, if you want to go get knee deep in the shits, Van Cat, we'll do it at the end of the show. Let me play this video with Nick Fuentes.
And by the way, you are a token. Hey, Jason, you're a token. You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views. That's why you get paid. And that's why I don't, because I didn't have the privilege of being born black. I was born white, so there's a limit on what I can say. There's a limit on what I can say without being penalized in the so-called free marketplace of ideas. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows. And everybody's sick of it, especially in the conservative space, that blacks have had it easy. It is, and I don't doubt that he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's genuine. But you are playing by a different set of rules, pal. You have training wheels on. You think you've earned it? Everything you have. Take a look around at your studio, your contract, your employees. If you said the stuff that you said as a white person, your ass would be fucking gone. And everybody knows that. You're on Blaze hosting E. Michael Jones talking about the Jews. It's a good fucking thing you're black, because if you weren't, you would have been fired like Elijah Schaffer. You would have been fired like every other white person. Everybody knows that. Take a good look at everything around you, because you did not compete to get that. You got it because people feel sorry. People don't want to be called racist. They feel sorry. They need a black person to give them credibility. And if you can't see that, then you're just as ignorant as BLM. If you can't see that, if you can't be honest with yourself about that, you're just as ignorant as the marchers. As a matter of fact, you are as ignorant as the marchers. Just another ignorant crybaby. And you know what? I have no hatred. I really don't. I'm a little bit frustrated with the fact that people are going to challenge my credibility based on what I say, knowing what I've sacrificed, what has happened to me, what has happened to my family. And I'm not trying to play the world's smallest violin, but my sacrifice has been considerable. I have had a considerably more difficult go than almost anybody, because I was willing to tell the truth before it's fashionable about Israel, about race, about globalization, about a wide variety of subjects. Ever since I was 18 years old, I have been censored. I have been financially blacklisted, had to endure financial hardship. I've been targeted. My family's been targeted. So for somebody to come and challenge my credibility or whether I'm being honest, it's totally outrageous. I have no hatred in my heart for people. I have no hatred in my heart for anybody, for that matter, and not for a group based on their race. And I have friends from all different races. It's not hatred. You know, we can't play that card all the time and bitch about racism every single time. With that being said, and it's important to clarify that because you don't want to be typecast as the angry white man that's trying to gin up. I'm not trying to gin up racial resentment. I'm really not. I'm trying to tell you how white people feel. And I'm trying to tell you the truth. And here's the truth of the matter. White people are just fucking done. We're done with the excuses. We're done with the white guilt. We are done with crybaby, ethnic narcissist black people that cannot handle an adult conversation about race. We're done. We pay up the ass in property taxes not to live near these people. We work hard. We pay our taxes. We go to work. We work our fingers to the bone to create a good quality of life for ourselves and for our families. And it has been ceaselessly sabotaged for decades by these fucking animals. And by that, I don't mean every black person. I mean these predators. I mean these opportunists. I mean these adolescents. Where are the parents? Where's the community now? Where are they? I'm talking about these young adolescent men, black men.
They're lynched.
That film themselves running over a physics professor on his bike in New Mexico, laughing, and kill him. I'm talking about the young black men that break into 20 businesses in Downers Grove overnight and loot the cash registers. I'm talking about the teen takeovers. the gangbangers. We don't want to live near this stuff anymore. And we all know what's going on. We all know who's doing it. We all know what it is. And we're sick and tired of black people not being able to be honest about it, not being able to take any responsibility. It's always someone else's fault. It's always some white person's fault. It's racism, it's poverty, it's the culture, it's the New Deal, the Great Society, it's Lyndon Johnson, it's the Democrats. You know what? No, I think it's you. I think it's just you.
So let me say this first and foremost. The first part of the video was some of the realest shit I ever heard, because he was spot on about the tokenism, and that's the whole breakdown of what's being said tonight when it comes to Black MAGA. He summed it up all in that first segment. He summed it up. A lot of these niggas are using tokenism and going to the bank with it. That's a fact, because they know it's certain things, which is absolutely correct what Nick Fuentes said. Certain things around the baseline of the conversation can be said by a black person that a white person just simply cannot say for whatever social reason. And again, this is not an issue of free speech, because me and you being on this YouTube channel right now, this is not free speech. Google is not the government.
Right.
They can shut this shit down right now if they want to.
Exactly.
So this is not a free speech issue. This is an issue of certain, based off the social norms of today, certain things aren't tolerated by white people versus black people. We see it every day. I can call you a nigga for 24 hours on this live stream, Van Cat, and nothing will happen.
Yep.
At all. We know this. But again, it's all based on the parameters of our individual communities versus others, which I have no issue with. Nick Fuentes articulated it beautifully in the second part of the video. He started going into racist babble, but the first part was spot on. What you got on it, Van Cat?
This nigga here, Nick Fuentes went off and said, I don't got nothing against any race. I don't got nothing against any group or skin color. And then he compromised everything he said by saying, we don't want to live next year. We're paying higher property taxes. I mean, this guy is just crazy, man. Nick Fuentes is wild. But you're right, MD. The first part, he called out what needed to be called out. But then there's also hypocrisy there as well, because we know Whitey loves to prop up certain niggas, certain coons, to say their message. As we saw in earlier tonight, you know, these blacks that are just gleefully going in front of cameras, being anti-black while trying to come off legitimate somehow, which is ridiculous. But Nick Fuentes, man, oh my God, there's just so much there.
Yeah, we know at the end of the day, this is a capitalist game.
Yeah.
If I'm a media company, a news agency, whatever the situation may be, I'm looking to go over the edge as close as possible. Me, because of who I am, and because of certain social barriers, as it pertains to, I guess you would say, political correctness, which is fine. I can't do that. So therefore, I'm gonna go out there and go get me a black person that can.
Yeah.
And he's gonna make money, and I'm gonna make money doing it.
Yep.
So you know, there's that. I just want people to understand that that's a thing. A lot of these black MAGA people, again, we talk about, like with Bill Maher, talking about portraying a character. I just want people to understand that that's all it is. So, you know, there's that. So let's see what Jason Whitlock had to say. And This shit is ridiculous. But let's take a look.
This is where I'm saying, like, the dishonesty, the profanity, the name calling, the emotion, the divorce from reality, because that's all I can think this is, because he is accurate. I don't watch his show. This is the most of his content that I've ever watched. I watched 45 minutes straight of him ranting and raving, and he's accurate on that. But he has acknowledged he watches my show. He engages with my content. If there's a bunch of videos out there of me saying, hey, you got to look the other way. Carmelo Anthony, I mean, he's a great kid, and, he shouldn't face first-degree murder charges, maybe a simple assault. If that's what I've been doing, let me know. I don't think that it is, but maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Hit me up over email again, fearlessblazeshow@gmail.com, if that's what I've been doing. Hit me over Twitter @WhitlockJason if that's what I've been doing. I want to play one final clip here from Nick, because he does a complete pivot. He basically says that at one point, or he argues quite a bit that, Whitlock's saying Christianity is the answer, and, he doesn't, it's race, and, he can't say Christ. And then he just pivots in the middle of it and says Christianity is the answer. It's the only time that I think in this 45 minutes where he points to Christ. But it's in direct contradiction to everything he had been saying and had been criticizing me. Whitlock wants to point to Christ, and he's saying godlessness is the problem. And then out of nowhere, he just pivots and says, yeah, Christianity is the answer. And it blew my mind, but let's play SOT number 8.
I'm not a big black crybaby. I just think that, the young black people need Christ. Really? Oh, someone should tell that to Haiti, a Christian nation. So, should we bring over all those Christian Haitians over there? Should we bring on all those Christians from sub-Saharan Africa? I mean, really? Give me a break. It is racial. So, you know what? Fuck you. Hey, fathead. You. Well, we're done. Fuck you and your black tears. We've just had enough of that, okay? Fathead. I'm so sick, so ignorant, and so dishonest. Hey, fathead, if you'd bothered to watch the show, I said I actually agreed with him. I do believe that the only way to reconcile whites and blacks, which is something that I believe we should do, because I don't hate blacks, and I don't think we have to live in a state of war or resentment. I think that there should be harmony between the races. I think there can be. And I agree with him that the only way to do that is Christianity. I absolutely agree.
So it was quite the pivot there. And he says that the only way for racial harmony is to tell the truth. And I completely agree with that. And I think we're trying to do a show that's consistent with that. And the foundation of all truth is Scripture, is God. And that's why so much of what we share on this show is from a biblical worldview. We try to incorporate Scripture into what we talk about and say on this show. I try to avoid profanity. I try to avoid over emotion and, mostly try to avoid name calling. And I try to give people a fair hearing. I know that Nick and his fans want, and maybe he thought his original tweet was, hey, let me have Nick on the show and we can disagree and we can debate this. I'm not going to debate biblical truth. I'll have a conversation about it, but.
All right, that's enough of that. It's the classic Negro socially conservative trope. When all else fails, go to God. It's a classic. So this nigga done pretty much said everything about you short of calling you a nigga.
Yep.
And you just gonna bypass all of that and go to God.
You know what's funny, MD, here? He talked about Nick Fuentes pivoted. Oh, he completely pivot. Nigga, what about your pivot? When you watch Jason Whitlock, he has all this violent energy. When he talked about LeBron James, when LeBron James first came to LA and somebody burglarized his home, writing nigga on the car garage and breaking some stuff. And he just went off on LeBron James, making LeBron James sound like he was the problem. His energy was completely different. He was like, and now Nick Fuentes calls his ass out, and this nigga just switch on a. Did you see how somber and how the tone was so like, oh man, you know, on this show we really try to wrap everything around biblical. Yeah, I mean, his whole tone changed when a white man called his ass out. You know, you can't go off on Massa. But every time it pertains to a black issue, to a black person, he has way more energy, way more animated, and a deep bass in his voice when dealing with those issues pertaining to blacks. And here's a whitey that checked his ass. And he came out like so, I mean, he didn't say anything rash or harsh or anything. He just said his little thing and showed his little video, and oh my God. Like he got neutered. Like he got neutered. My goodness.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, that's another defense mechanism that a lot of these conservative Negroes like to do. They like to play the I'm not necessarily docile, but try to show constraint and be willfully abandoned to the actual topic at hand and use that as a defense mechanism to project this sense of masculinity and respect, and this is how you handle a situation. It's all bullshit. And that's why I don't follow any social order. Because in actuality, what it is just like what you just said, Venkat. You got neutered. You became docile in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Just keep that shit real. In that type of heated debate, from a racial standpoint, I ain't got a problem with you being assertive in what you're trying to say. But because you knew that probably would hurt a lot of your viewing audience because they white. I don't think it's too many niggas over there on the Blaze watching Jason Whitlock. I don't know any people, at least.
No, not at all. I didn't even know you was on the Blaze.
I don't even know where you can watch the Blaze.
Yeah, that too. That too.
All I know is this Glenn Beck channel. That's all I know.
Exactly.
Another kook. You know what I'm saying? So, in that aspect, you knew exactly what you were doing. You know exactly what you're doing. So, yeah, I was going to play this other Nick Fuentes video. I ain't going to do it. I think I got away with enough. So, that's the show, folks. The truth about Black MAGA. Again, this will be a multi-staged series with a laundry list of Black MAGA. You know what I'm saying? So we'll take a look at it and we'll try to psychoanalyze them the best we can.
No, it's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But again, next week, the truth about Project 2025 Part 2. We're gonna break down exactly what's going on and try trace it over Project 2025. That thing, what Black MAGAs and others said wasn't Trump's thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, at least that's what they told me. But hey, man, we'll see. Hey, check us out this Saturday and Sunday over at Straight Talks Society. We'll be doing the watch along for both of the main events. And we'll be doing a review next week. And that's all I got tonight, man. I'm tired.
One more thing, MD. So tomorrow is April 18th, Friday. This is the second blackout of the year. Ain't no spending at any company. Ain't getting the car wash, ain't eating no food, ain't making no online orders, ain't going in no stores. Complete blackout. Don't spend your money. I know I ain't spending a goddamn dime on tomorrow on Friday. Tomorrow's the second blackout. And these bastards, especially Target feeling the pinch of that blackout. They down over 12 billion. Over 12 billion loss. So that blackout is killing them. Keep it going.
We'll see, man. That may not work for me, brother, because I gotta go home. I gotta go home tomorrow. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll do the best I can.
Yeah.
I'll do the best I can. But yeah, that's the show tonight, folks. Great show. A lot of pertinent topics. And again, I'm gonna try to keep this going next week.
Yeah.
The truth about Project 2025. With that being said, my co-host Van Cat, MD, and you got anything else?
That's it. Peace out, MD.
All right, peace.
We